Call to order of the City of Kingman meeting of the Transit Advisory Commission on Monday, July 28th at 3:30 PM. Call to order and roll call.
Chairperson Hayes,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Pottenberg is absent. Commissioner Addy,
Present.
Commissioner Hayes,
Here.
Commissioner Kelly.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Will everyone stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag and the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all. Guess I gotta practice. Okay. Presentations. We're gonna have an open meeting law and preliminary procedure presentation from the city attorney's office.
Hello, my name is Carl Cooper. I'm the Kingman City Attorney. Ladies are going to help me with the technical stuff that I don't know anything about. I'm going to give you an open meeting law training and parliamentary procedures. There's like 25, 26 slides. We're going to go through them, but pretty fast. I've done this a number of times, so I try to just do a lot of it off the top of my head. You all have copies of this. So if you have any questions, definitely ask. But if you have any more information, you can read through it and just see what's going on in there. You can also call my office, or you can talk to me, or you can talk to Amy Schreiber, who's the deputy city attorney. You could talk to the city clerk. There's a number of folks available to help you out if you have any questions. All right, so if I'm running this, next slide. So open meeting law, this is a public meeting. This is basically the start of the statute. It's the public policy of the state that meetings of public bodies, which you are one, have to be conducted openly with notices, agendas, so that the people, our citizens, know what's happening so they can show up to participate in that discussion. So when I'm charged with interpreting the statute, it is by the statute, I have to interpret as broadly as possible to make sure it's open and public. So, as I said, this is a public meeting. The public body are you folks, and anybody who is citizen, resident, they are permitted to attend, listen, to see what's going on with our local government. You can read some of that. So you, as I noticed before, you are part of a public body. You'd be a commission of our political subdivision. So what is a meeting? It's when you gather here. There's a 5-member body. So if 3 of you gather in a number of ways to discuss topics that would be coming before you, then you're becoming a quorum, and we need to be careful. So 3 or more of you, if you're in either however you gather, as this says, in person, by email, by phone, by some other remote device, if 3 of you are together discussing a potential topic, that's a quorum. If the 5 of you are at a party and you're not talking business, you're good to go. So this is kind of a list of various ways you could meet or discuss this. You can look at like the social media. If someone says, hey, I really support this project and I'm going to vote for it, and someone likes it and someone else likes it, well then that's an electronic quorum, and that would violate the open meeting law. So if you participate in these types of things, one, I would be very careful using your personal social media to discuss city business, because then it might become an open for business private account, but to avoid those kinds of interaction. Splintering the quorum is when 2 people talk about a project, subject, whatever, and then you bring in another person at a different conversation. So 2 people are talking, one of those 2 talk to another person, you've splintered the quorum, you're creating that open meeting law violation. You can't do it by accident, you can't do it on purpose. If you get 3 or more, you are violating the open meeting law. Again, if you're talking about something that would come before this body. When we do these meetings, we have agendas. Those agendas are what you have to stick to. That's your topic. Those agendas need to be posted a minimum of 24 hours prior to the meeting. That allows the general public to know, as well as yourselves, what's going on, so they can attend and participate. Basically, the agenda just is going to include, as you see, these listed items. The big thing you have to remember about the agenda, staff prepares it for the commission, but you can only discuss items that are on the agenda. If it's not on the agenda, you can't talk about it. So I always tell the recording secretary, staff, if they need to jump in, say stay on topic. The chairperson, you need to make sure you keep them focused on topic. If you see me at council meetings, there's times I interrupt the council and say we're going too far off. That's what we're here to do, to stay on topic. And that's your main job besides just running the meeting. Stick with the agenda. If it's not on the agenda, it can't be discussed. And if it's done inappropriately, anything that you've done is void and has to be redone, basically. If you have a call to the public, that means someone can come up, talk about something that would impact this body. It's not required by state statute, but if we do it, we can impose reasonable time restrictions, which is 3 minutes. So what happens if they get up there and call you a bunch of dirty so-and-sos and don't like you? You're not supposed to respond, because when someone gives a presentation, the only response you can have is direct staff to look into the matter, direct staff to bring it back in another commission meeting. If someone is cursing you out, I always recommend just let it go. If you feel you have to respond, at the end of the call to the public, you can ask the chairperson, I would like to respond to that criticism. Again, I don't recommend it, but if you feel the need to, you can respond to that criticism, but you need to do it not in a way that would start up another dialogue, which is why you wait to the end of the call to the public. That person doesn't get to come up and do a rebuttal. It gets really crazy. So it's always my recommendation to avoid it, because it'll just go on for meeting after meeting after meeting. This is what I just said. It says they can attend, listen, tape record, videotape. They don't get to speak unless it's a public hearing, call the public, and they don't get the right to disrupt. If someone's disrupting, you can always just, hey, we're going to take a 5-minute recess, calm things down, go from there. And disruptions rarely happen. I've only seen it happen maybe a couple times since I've been with the city for 23 years. Sanctions for violating open meeting law. The Attorney General's office would investigate any complaints about open meeting law violation. Generally what they do is they will send a letter to me saying, hey, someone reported this, and I respond. I'll look at what the complaint is and I'll say, hey, we didn't do it, or you're right, we did do it, and I'm gonna go back and do some remedial training to correct that. That's what the AG's office is looking for. They don't want to punish people, but if they have to punish people, they will, which would kick them off the council, the commission. There could be a fine involved. I've never seen that happen. We've had open meeting law complaints, and it's either gets dismissed or remedial training has always worked. So the more scary thing is conflict of interest, and I shouldn't say it's a scary thing, but because it's not necessarily a dirty word, but it's okay to have a conflict of interest on a subject. You just need to report it, and you need to not participate in that discussion. So it applies to everybody, staff, commission, council. So these are generally things that would involve you personally, meaning you get some financial or pecuniary or fiduciary impact. It benefits you for your business, positioning you to get something else, or basically money. So if this is a conflict with yourself or your immediate family members, In your cases, I don't think there's a lot that would be brought up, but potentially could be brought up. If you're recommending we engage in an agreement with somebody that you may, either you own the company, your family owns the company, you'll get a cut of the deal, then we'll have a problem, you need to recuse yourself from it. When you recuse yourself from an item, best thing to do is just as soon as it starts, say, I have a conflict, I'm gonna recuse myself, and go into the back room. Wait till that discussion's over, then you come back. This stops you from influencing the discussion or people thinking you're influencing the discussion. If you have a conflict, call me, talk to the clerk. We'll kind of sort through to make sure whether you do or you don't. Some people think they have a conflict and they don't. Or they don't think they have a conflict and they do. And it's not a big deal. It happens. It happens all the time where those conflicts pop up. We just address them. And there's a thing called remote interest. And there's 2 pages of this small text. I'm not going to go through it. You guys can look through it. It's more about your personal bills, your investments, your relationships to certain things. Go through this just so you have a good understanding of what it is. And if we have to talk about it on an individual basis, we can. And like I say, it's a lot. So that's open meeting law, conflict of interest, talking about basic parliamentary procedure. There's only a couple of slides on this. Basically, it's just how you run the meeting. Chairperson, make sure you run the meeting. If someone wants to talk or say something, you get recognized by the chair. If you want to make a motion, same thing, get recognized by the chair. You make your motion, clear, concise. I move that we do this. Wait for someone to second your motion. The chairperson can second. The chairperson can file a motion. If there is a second to your motion, then you can vote on it. If there's no second, then the motion dies. So we always want to make sure that motion is clear. So please say it clearly, chairperson. I would say it's good to restate the motion so everybody knows what we're voting on, because it's happened where people were confused what they're voting on. Then you just put it to the vote. And you can have discussion prior to the motion. You can have discussion after the motion. We don't follow Robert's Rules of Order just because they're overly convoluted and super technical. It inhibits a good discussion. That's why we try and work it this way. So I think that's it. I try to be quick. It's kind of a boring subject, but we got to make sure you guys have at least a little bit of a handle on it. Any questions? No? Awesome. So feel free to call me at any time you need, Carl Cooper, City Attorney, or Amy Schreiber. All right, thank you. Yep.
Thank you, Carl. All right, the next thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, consideration of the minutes for approval from October 14th, 2024 quarterly meeting. Did anyone have any questions, any changes?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I second.
Does everyone approve? Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, just as a reminder, I almost didn't do it myself. You want to make sure that you hit the button on your microphone till it turns green and then speak into the microphone.
All right. Call to the public, comments from the public? That's what I figured. Okay. Okay. So no comments from the public. So we're going to move on to the action items. So it's the election of the chair and the vice chair. The commission members will elect a chair and a vice chair. Officer terms will be for the remainder of 2025 and shall take effect immediately. Does anyone want to be the chair or the vice chair?
I nominate Jennifer, oops, I gotta put this thing. I nominate Jennifer Hayes as chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed?
All right. Does any-
Okay, so Jen, you'll remain as the chair, and now we want to elect a vice chair.
Does anyone want to be the vice chair? You run the meeting when I'm not here.
Does somebody want to nominate somebody to be vice chair?
Everyone's looking at me like they don't want to do it.
So we also have another member of TAC who isn't present. I don't know whether or not he would be interested in taking the role of vice chair.
Okay.
But we do need to select a vice chair who take the place of running the meeting when you're not here.
Yep. All right.
I'll do vice.
Okay. I nominate Kelly to be vice chair.
I second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. The biannual review of the Transit Advisory Commission bylaws. There was some changes to it. One was based on our meeting got moved from the second Monday of the month to the fourth Monday to meet quarterly on January, April, July, October at 3:30. And the Transit Commission will be composed of 5 members. Also, that was the other change that we made, right, from 7 to 5?
Yes, that's correct. That was the other change.
All right. Does anyone have any discussion or questions about that change to the bylaws?
I'll make a motion to accept the change.
I second. Does everyone in favor?
Aye.
Transportation to the Kingman Airport Industrial Park. Discussion regarding cart service to the Kingman Airport Industrial Park.
Okay, so I originally planned on bringing a couple options for transportation to the industrial park. I was looking at, as we've discussed before, we've looked at modifying the yellow, splitting the yellow into orange and yellow, or maybe doing a commuter route. However, our Economic Development Department, we had a representative reach out to members at the airport regarding any interest, any willingness to participate in the costs, and whether or not they felt that their employees would utilize the service. We received very limited responses, and the responses were not all that positive. So because of that, any additional routes or changes were not funded in this year's budget. So for the time being, any routing out to the airport is on hold.
Okay. I know the Industrial Training Center is going to be opening, I think, August or September.
Yes,
October 18th.
yes.
August 18th, yeah.
Yeah, I know the MCC Center will be opening. However, unfortunately, there's not enough interest out there to run the route.
Okay. Transportation service between Kingman and Lee Williams High School. Commissioner Potterberg, who's not here today, has requested the commission discuss opportunities for developing cart services between the 2 high schools to provide access to career and technical education programs.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and, if anybody obviously wants to speak to that, I'll give some background and information on what we currently have and what we can and can't do. So we currently have a stop along our green route at the Lee Williams High School, and that's serviced hourly. The nearest school, or sorry, the nearest stop near Kingman High School is on the blue route at Gordon and Roosevelt, and the yellow has a stop on Butler near Bank Street. Those are currently the nearest locations that we have for students to access the routes. So they can use the regular fixed routes. Now, as far as adding or doing any kind of plan to go in between the schools, directly or indirectly, we're not able to provide dedicated school bus service, but we will continue to look in when we do our routing options, any changes in the future. We'll continue to look into opportunities to get a stop closer. And if it's something that's feasible that could get both of those, that's certainly something that we could look at, but we can't have any special bus service that would be considered school bus service.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for Sherry? All right. Okay. Do we need to do any action on that, or just?
No, there's no action on that.
Okay.
Just the discussion, I wanted to inform you what our current limitations are and what our current availability is.
Okay. Okay. The next thing on our agenda is the CART bus advertising program. Discussion regarding CART's advertising program. Staff is preparing to release a request for proposal for third-party advertising to generate revenue that would be used towards the City of Kingman's local match requirement for operating expenses. The RFP is attached for review and input for the commission members. So that was emailed out to us.
Yes, and included in your agenda packet.
Yeah.
Did you all get a chance to review that?
Yeah.
So one thing to point out is on page 3, the general information. So what we're looking to do is to do advertising. What we currently do now is advertising on the windows and on the rear of the vehicle, as well as posters on the inside of each bus. That's what we currently offer, and that's what we're seeking to continue doing. However, we are also welcoming proposals for all revenue-generating advertising opportunities. So that could be at benches or shelters, if somebody's interested in offering a proposal for that. Additionally, currently, we only advertise on our windows on the outside of the bus. We're looking to open that up to the entire bus, depending on any proposals, as long as we maintain our CART branding.
Yeah, I think everything is pretty clear. Does anyone have any questions?
Sherry, how often do those advertisements turn?
Well, it really varies. So right now with our current advertising program, we haven't had a large amount of revenue, which is why we're looking to go outside to a third-party vendor for that. So we get, the advertising that we get really varies. So we offer advertising on the inside of the buses, on the outside for different terms. So to give you an idea of what we've been able to generate, I've got, find my amount here. So we had just shy of $5,000 earned in advertising revenue last fiscal year. The fiscal year prior to that, we had nothing, 0 advertising dollars, and the year prior to that was just a little over 5,000. So it really varies. So right now, we have the posters on the inside of the bus that we still have actively going. We had another window advertiser that their term has ended, so they selected a 3-month term, so we're removing their advertising. And then we have another advertiser who is advertising one window on one bus for a 12-month term.
And what's our goal, Sherry, of what's our ultimate goal to help support the transportation?
The budgeted goal has been $5,000. So the year, let's see, so in fiscal year '23, we exceeded that by, I had my paper, but I think that was just about $600. I believe we exceeded that $5,000 goal. Like I said, last year we had nothing, and this last fiscal year '25, we were $26 shy of meeting that $5,000 anticipated goal. But obviously, we want to make as much as we can because that's not a shared revenue. That's not, so where any of our fares that we receive, those come off of our operating costs, and so they're shared basically half and half against the grant. We get 50% of that, 50% comes off of our operating costs. With our advertising revenue, it can all go towards our local share.
The outside vendor, then you think that'll help increase?
I'm hopeful. So we think it's a good idea to at least see if there's any interest. Try and see what we can do to increase that revenue.
Promote it.
Yes, to get that promoted, because there are several. In fact, we did receive some marketing information from a company that does advertising on bus shelters, and they say in there that they provide the shelter, they provide the bench, and they do the advertising. You don't really get any revenue stream from that, but they provide your shelters in turn for them having that advertising. I looked into them to see where they have where they're currently active, and they're more in like San Francisco, New York, larger areas. So I'll still be reaching out to them to see if our community is something that they're interested in, but not until after we see how everything goes with our RFP.
Right. Is that something where they keep up the maintenance on them too then?
Yes, they would keep up the, I mean, it would be ideal. I'm not sure if they realize that it's limited opportunity out here, or maybe it is much bigger opportunity. I don't know what their current guidelines for doing that are, but so those are just one of the many things that we can do. But yes, so but as far as for how this RFP goes, this would be somebody who, and perhaps an agency like that would be interested in submitting a proposal for this. But generally what we plan to do with this is we would obviously maintain our shelters and stuff. They would maintain the advertising, the advertisements. They'd remove them when they come off. They would generate the sales. We would receive a portion of what they generate.
I like the idea of the increase in revenue on it. My biggest thing is, like you said, is the advertising on the shelters and keeping, looking,
Yes,
keeping that city, and as you well know too,
No, as I well know, we do
Yep.
definitely have a lot of graffiti cleanup that we do on a
Yep,
regular
yep.
basis.
Take great care
So
of it, yeah.
anybody who if they were to advertise on the shelters or the benches, we would expect them to maintain their advertisement. That's that's not necessarily a specific part of our scope. It's included rather as, in there saying that we encourage all forms of advertising revenue, which could include benches and shelters. Right now, the current RFP is geared towards in and on the bus, but encourages other types of advertising revenue.
Do we have to vote on it or just mostly discuss it and support it?
You can vote on it to accept it and to recommend that that we go ahead and release the RFP.
Okay. I would like to do a motion that we approve to have the RFP released to the public to get support on additional revenue for the bus advertising program.
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Public Transit Superintendent Report.
Okay, thank you. So included in your packets are the financial and ridership reports. You can go ahead and review those. Let me know if you have any questions on them. Also want to let you know, our service has been running smoothly. It's been going really well. Our staff levels have been where they need to be. We do have one part-time B transit operator position that will be opening soon, and that position will be posted on the City of Kingman website. I do anticipate ADOT announcing the next application cycle for Section 5339 grant, which is grant for buses and bus facilities formula program. And I anticipate that opening up in the next month or two. In this next application, I'm planning to request funding for the Transit Center environmental study and 30% design, replacement GPS passenger counters and camera systems for all the transit vehicles, and requesting one replacement bus in this next cycle. We are still working towards trying to secure land for the transit center at the site that was selected. So that's something that we've had ongoing discussion.
I was wondering about that.
And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, I think. Ridership looks like it's been staying about the same from the last 2 years.
Yes, it's been pretty steady. We've been anticipating some higher numbers of growth, but we did have about a 1% drop in ridership, but nothing substantial.
And it's still $1.50 to ride the bus?
It is still $1.50 to ride the bus. In our fees, last year we reduced the coupon book cost down to $35 for each book, and that has generated many more purchases of those coupon books. It offers them, it's about a 22% discount. So that's been positive. Our revenue had increased in our bus pass sales as a result of that, so that was doing good. So although we did have a slight drop in ridership, our revenue still continued to increase.
Good. Does anyone have any questions for Sherry? And we have been, we are allowed to let Sherry know if we want to ride the bus, and she'll get us passes.
I brought passes with me today. I have passes and maps. So I'd like to give you guys some day passes, and you can get out and ride the bus, and maybe that'll help give you some more ideas, things that you'd like to request to address, just some input so that we can continue to improve.
No.
Has there been, since we had the last meeting, has there been anything from the public have they requested anything? Or they would like to see?
We will be doing another public survey. Generally, the last survey that we had, requests were for extended hours, longer hours on Saturday, Sunday service. So looking more for more service hours. That's been the main request that we've had from anybody.
Any other additional questions? Okay. Moving on to the next. Announcements by commission members. Limited to announcements, board and commission liaison reports, availability, attendance, conferences, and seminars. Okay. And then requests for future reports and updates. I'd like to have on the future agenda, Sherry, an update on the transportation hub. I know we have a lot of steps to get to where we're gonna go, because I did go to the city commission meeting, but just kind of letting us know where that stands.
Absolutely. We'll have an update on our next agenda.
Okay. Anyone else have any requests that they would like to see on a future agenda? Or future report?
And as a reminder, if there's a subject that you'd like to have included on the agenda, you can reach out to me or to Donna, and we can get that put on for the next one. So if you think of something later that you'd like to add, reach out to us, and we'll be happy to add that.
I know we've also talked about having WACOG come. WACOG regarding transportation, because I know talking about the other cities and Bullhead and Havasu and all of that in Golden Valley.
Yes, and we can check with Felicia, the WACOG mobility manager, to see if that's something that she's able to do, come present, or their transportation manager there. We can see if we can get somebody at the next meeting.
Okay. Do we have anything else to discuss? All right, then I'm going to adjourn this meeting.